Okay, red group, this is your line. Let's take a listen. Okay, it's actually a very nice melody line. Now, if you remember, I showed you a brief lesson on chords and what builds a chord. So now I'm going to walk you through what chords that I think you guys should use. So you're going to look at this note here. This is part of your first beat. Okay, these two notes here, the TT, the C and the E. The third beat is your D and your F. We're going to look at that. And then we're going to look at the E and G. And then finally back at the D and F. Okay, so those are the four beats that we're going to look at. So if we take a look at your first chord, if you remember, you know what, I'll sketch it around here. Your first chord that we talked about was the home bass chord. That's C, E, and G. Okay, let's call this home bass, and we'll call it a C chord. All right, and here the next chord we had was F, A, and C. Now this C is a high C, so we're just going to bring it on down to the low C. And then here we had our third bass chord, which was G, B, and D, but we're going to drag the D down here to keep it in our yard. Okay, so we have C, let's see here, we have C, we have F, and we have G. So those are our three chords that we're going to use. We're going to use these chords to figure out what this first chord should be. Now, our first chord, we have a C and we have an E. And it looks like we have a C and an E here. So this first chord would be a C. Okay, so I'll put a C, an E, and a G. Okay, so that tells me that's your first beat. Okay, now I'm going to skip the second beat for now and move on to the third beat, which is right here. This is the D and the F. Now this one's a little tricky because you have D and F. We have a D here in the G chord, but we don't have an F. And we have an F here in the F chord, but we don't have a D. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a couple of options because I don't want you to feel like you have to change this. What we can do is, in music, let me shift this back here. In music, we do have some chords that are built of 4 notes. And that's, a G chord would be one of those. It can be G, B, D, and if we take one more skip, that would be an F. All right? Now, I know that looks like a kind of a funky chord, but it does work. So what we could do, we could go ahead and put a G chord here. I'm going to go ahead and put one there just to see what it sounds like. And I'm not even going to sneak the F in there. I'm going to see if that F kind of just, you can kind of just feel it in there later on. So I'm just going to put the G in there for now. And I'll leave that F there. Now if we were to restack this to where we don't go into our neighbor's yard, it would look something like that. Now, let's see here. So we have that. Now moving on, we're skipping this beat right here and we're going to move on to this one. E and G, that's pretty plain and simple. That would be our C chord again. So let me go ahead and write our C chord, E and C. And then I'm going to skip this one and then come to this one. Okay, again, we have the F and the D. So I'm going to stick that G chord back in there because like I said, I think this one would fit with that extra third in there, with that extra skip in there. Okay, so we have C, a G, a C, a G. We only use 2 chords, but that's fine. Let's see what it sounds like. Listen. Let's listen to that again. Let me see. Let me make some adjustments here. All right, let's listen to that again. Okay. All right, so it sounds okay. It sounds okay. If you're not happy with it, some suggestions. Let's see. We could see if we could make this an F. Let's see what that sounds like. Let me just move everybody down. So now we have an F chord. Let's do the same thing for this one. Why not? All right, now let's see what this sounds like. Oops. All right, here we go. Okay, that's not bad. What if we did an F chord here and maybe a G chord here? So let me bring this back up to here and let's see what that sounds like. Okay, so that actually has a nice shape to it. Whatever you decide, just make sure you write down which chord you agree to. Okay, and you can come up to me and we can kind of experiment and you can hear it up here on the smartboard. Okay, now what I want you to do, once you get that in place, I want you to start building a nice melody line or a bass line. And I'm going to show you kind of how to do that. An easy way to start is just to make nothing but tas. Since I'm on a notation software, I kind of have to put notes. I can't just do stick notations. But let's say we just do it all on ta. Now here I have it all on ta on C in the bass line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to see if I can figure out a good bass line for this. Let's see. It has to be from the C chord, this first beat and second beat. So let's see, it could be C, E, or G. I think I'll keep the C here. Maybe I'll make this an E. And then here, I could go back to the C here. Maybe make this one an F, so that way I can stay within the F chord. So we have C and F. And then here, I have C, E, and here, C, E, and G. Maybe I'll go ahead and make this C, E, and G. So I have a nice stepping motion. C, E, C, F, C, and G. And then here, there is no C in the G chord, so maybe I'll bring it down, oops, maybe I'll bring it down to D. And then I'll go up to G. All right. So I tried to keep a nice stepward motion, but a steady bass line. So let's hear what the bass line will sound like. Let's listen. Let me raise that a little bit for you so you can hear. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. Now what I want to do, maybe rather than having just all tas, because tas is kind of a first grade kind of rhythm, maybe we can have, maybe we can do T-T-Ta, T-T-Ta, ta, ta. Maybe have the C's, maybe have them go like that. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so it's something different. The idea is just to make sure that when you write your bass line, you include these notes in your bass line for sure. All right, within this linear structure here. You have to always look vertically. All right, and then a melody line, this would just be a good place to start. You don't have to copy this. As a matter of fact, I don't want you to copy it. I want you to come up with your own. And with the melody line, same thing. You want to start with something like, so you can start with an E and just have straight quarter notes. You can do E, maybe put an F in there. Actually, let's see. We can do E, E, G, maybe F, maybe F, oops, make that ta, A, and then G, maybe the high C, so that way we can stay within our C chord, and then B, and then G. Let's see what that sounds like. Let me take everybody off solo. Let me just shut down the chords for right now. Okay, so here we go. Let me play it for you again. Okay, so it's a place to start. If you want, you can change these notes here. Change it to a bump bump T. Maybe get everybody lined up rhythmically playing the same thing. You could even throw a bump bump T in the bass line. You can put T's in the melody line. But the bottom line is just to make things a little bit more interesting so it ties together. Okay? There you go.